Hey friends, it's Lisa again. We are on chapter 3 of Retired and Free, the Unconventional Path to Financial Security and Fulfillment. Financial certainty and fulfillment. Chapter 3 is the great race. As you are learning, we really like asking questions. So let's kick off this chapter, the great race, by asking you this question. If you knew you were going to compete in a triathlon, how would you train? In case you're unfamiliar, a triathlon is a race with 3 different stages. The race starts out with a swim, followed by a bike ride, and ends with a run. I know, you are probably saying, I have no interest in ever doing a triathlon, but just go with it for a second. So let's ask again, how do you think you would train in preparation for a triathlon? Do you think you would only work on your swimming? Or do you think you would work on 3 elements, swimming, biking, and running? How do you think you would do in the triathlon if all you did was practice swimming? Most, if not all, of the people we have ever asked say the same thing. They would practice all 3 elements of the race, swimming, biking, and running. No one has ever said they would only focus on the swim part of the race and expect to win. Like the yield sign, you again might be wondering what a triathlon has to do with retirement. Again, the answer is everything. Just like a triathlon has 3 separate and distinct phases to the race, we believe your adult life is comprised of 3 distinct financial phases as well: accumulation, retirement, and transfer. Just like being in the lead after the swim portion of the triathlon doesn't ensure you'll be the winner of the race, being successful in the accumulation phase doesn't ensure you're doing too well in the retirement and transfer phases of your life. Why is that? Sadly, some of the strategies, rules, and methods and techniques you've learned and even effectively used to build wealth during the accumulation phase might have unintended consequences in the retirement and transfer phase. In fact, most of what you've learned about money in the accumulation phase of life would even significantly backfire. Hear it, friends, backfire if applied in the retirement phase. Did you know that the common accumulation strategy of dollar cost averaging, for example, if continued through your retirement, could you leave you broke? Regrettably, the significant majority of all the financial information that's been published has been focused on accumulation strategies. Why is that? Well, for one, when consumers were expected to spend only a few years in retirement, the need for a strong, long lasting income plan might not have been as important. But now, with people spending 20 or more years in retirement, that lifetime income is much more important. Also, as we discussed earlier, stock market-based mutual fund companies, advisory firms, and the financial advisors they employ make money. Listen, friends, make money charging you fees for the money you have invested with them. Generally, their main business objective is to maximize the revenue and profits for the firms they're with. And one way of doing that is to help investors accumulate as much as possible. Therefore, it is no wonder there is an avalanche of information available about how to save and accumulate money in these funds and little guidance on how to safely take it out. While there's an overwhelming amount of information about how and where to save in these various accounts and lists about the top 10 funds or stocks to own, we strongly believe there is a significant lack of quality information about the wise strategies and techniques on how to withdraw from your retirement accounts. If you've ever asked your financial advisor how much of your money you can or should take out in retirement, you have not gotten a thoughtful response. The answer might have been along the lines, take out as little as possible. Wait a minute here. Haven't you been working your whole life and saving this money for retirement so that you would have money available to spend and enjoy? What would be the point of working your whole life and saving money that you couldn't really touch? Remember, the more money you leave in your accounts, the more your advisor and firms they work for make. For many firms, their expertise is in growing your money, not necessarily on when and how to efficiently withdraw it. And while some financial advisors have sought special training and are well qualified to assist in this area, don't automatically assume that your existing advisor and investment firm have great strategies for helping you safely pull out as much money as possible from your accounts in retirement. While creating an efficient withdrawal strategy certainly makes the most sense for you when you're retired, it isn't always in the best interest of your advisor and the firm holding your funds, who are getting paid a percentage of your assets under their management. Additionally, it's not just what they have been trained to do. They have been trained to sell and recommend investments to you that have hopefully allowed you to do well in the accumulation phase. Think of them as like your swim coach. It would be silly and naive to expect expert level coaching and advice on cycling from a swim coach. Well, that is exactly what many people today are attempting to do. Out of a sense of loyalty, oh, I definitely hear that. I definitely see that as a big challenge that I personally face. A sense of loyalty, or maybe to save themselves the trouble of having to go find another advisor. Millions of retirees are hoping to get something from their current advisor that their advisor might not be able to give. Even a well meaning, well intended person cannot give what they don't have. Maybe you've been handling your finances alone and you never had a financial advisor. Regardless of how well you have done accumulating money on your own or with the help of an advisor, this would be a great time to get some fresh input, new ideas on how to best turn your nest egg into income. As you are about to see, there are many considerations and you don't want to make mistakes. After all, if you've been working hard and sacrificing to save this money, so we think you deserve to have the best possible plan that safely maximizes your use and enjoyment of your retirement money. Leaving the accumulation phase and moving into the retirement phase is a bigger deal than you might have realized. In addition to probably needing to reevaluate the relationship you have with your existing financial advisor, there are other lifestyle shifts you should be prepared for. The accumulation phase can be affectionately known as our working years. Here are some of the common financial strategies utilized during the accumulation phase. Put a check mark next to any strategy that you used or are presently using during your accumulation phase. Working, trading your time for money to produce income, saving and investing, putting a portion of earned money away for unseen expenses and retirement. Education, saving for or paying for the education of children or grandchildren. Home, maybe you're paying down off the mortgage on the family home, possibly some rental properties. Vesting, staying loyal to your company to vest a pension if you're lucky enough to have one. Very few have pensions anymore. Maxing out, have you been maxing out and making annual contributions into a 401k or IRA to save money on taxes and put as much away for retirement as possible? How about investing? Purchasing high growth stocks and mutual funds to accumulate as much as possible. Life insurance, typically personally owned or company provided term insurance to protect against loss of income or premature death. One of the major shifts that many newly retired people are not prepared for is the emotional response of no longer having somewhere to go and something to do all day. It's hard to describe the disorientation that often accompanies newly retired individuals once they vacated their roles in the workforce. I'm going to put a commentary. This is regardless of whether you've planned that retirement, or I see a lot of people that have unplanned retirements. Maybe their company had an exit strategy or a layoff, and they found themselves realizing, I actually can retire, but maybe it wasn't necessarily planned ahead of time. Many people strongly identify with the work that they do. This is a particularly difficult transition for those who have been working hard and have achieved success and positions of great honor and esteem with their work. On the job or in your business, maybe you were a mover and a shaker, someone who had developed a great reputation and influence with your coworkers. You might have been in a position of management with many people looking to you for instructions and counsel, and then you retire. And now, well, you're just you. No more title, responsibility, authority, and positional power from the role you held at your role or job. No more seeing all the people you've grown accustomed to seeing over the years. This might sound dramatic, but we can assure you this is exactly what we heard from many of the people we interviewed as part of the research that was performed for this book. Many new retirees grossly underestimate this sudden shift and are left struggling to reinvent themselves. Additionally, that paycheck you've grown accustomed to receiving for the past 30 to 40 years or more stops coming. No more direct deposits into your account and no more checks in the mail. Consider that maybe now, for the first time in 30 or 40 years, you are no longer earning income. You are no longer contributing to your savings and retirement accounts. You're actually now needing to withdraw money from these accounts to pay for your ordinary living expenses. It's hard to describe in words these emotions, but in our experience, in talking with thousands of people approaching and already in retirement, this can be a difficult transition. We routinely hear from people who have prepared well, actually have plenty of money put away to safely get them through their entire life, and yet they still feel extremely anxious about pulling money out of their accounts and seeing their account balances shrink. In May of 2019, an article was written by Harriet Edelson. Almost half of Americans, 49%, cite running out of money as their chief retirement concern. Considering that over half of all retirees fear running out of money, it is easy to see why so many people can be anxious about drawing down on their retirement accounts. Accounts that you've spent your entire life building are now not only not growing, but they're actually going down. I see it over and over again in my practice where people are emotionally attached to seeing a specific dollar amount in certain accounts for them to be able to have peace. This is very interesting reading, isn't it? Retirement phase. Once you transition out of the accumulation phase and into the retirement phase, here are some common characteristics of a traditional retirement. Again, go ahead and put a check mark by all that apply to you. Earned income has stopped. Identity and sense of purpose that was being derived from career and other work-related activities are gone and in need of replacing. Significant increase in free time. No longer saving, but instead spending. If you have pension, you need to make important decisions about which pension is best. Social Security decisions must be made, like when is the best time to take Social Security? More on that later. Accumulation mindset of aggressively pursuing growth at the risk of losing money needs to be replaced with a more conservative approach focused on protection and income. Employer provided life insurance is gone. That's a good one. And any term insurance owned has either matured or likely will be maturing in the next several years. Health insurance must be sorted out, either provided by company as retirement benefit, Medicare, or private pay. Notice just how different things in retirement are from when you were working. Are you getting a sense for just how big a transition this really is? Think about the triathlon. Imagine you spent 30 to 40 years in the water practicing and perfecting your swimming techniques. You've mastered it over the years of practice, and you've received much instruction, tips, and coaching from many swimming experts along the way. But the day comes when your time of swimming is over. And now, for the first time in your life, you have to get out of the water. No more swimming. Now you need to jump on a bike and start pedaling. When the accumulation phase is over, it's time to move into phase 2, retirement. Quickly now, it's time to dry off from the swim, throw on your biking shoes, and jump on this bike and ride it into the sunset for the next 20, 30, maybe even 30 years or more. How successful do you think you'll be on this bike ride? You've been swimming in the water for 30 to 40 years. You've never even seen this bike before, much less practice riding it. And now you're being asked to settle into it and spend the rest of your life doing something you have had no experience doing. Yet, and you receive no instruction on how to do it successfully. Heck, the cycling shoes, those fancy ones that clip into the pedals, they might not even be your size. Can you imagine the pain of being stuck in the wrong size shoe for decades? As you struggle to get comfortable in the smallest seat you've ever sat on in your life, it now occurs to you that all the information you learn about how to be a great swimmer, how to maximize your strokes, how to conserve energy, how to generate more power and swim faster are not necessarily the same skills you need on the bicycle. All of a sudden, you face hills and wind, rocks, and things you never experienced in the water. Your back hurts, your butt is sore, your legs are cramping, and you have no clue what to do about it. Are you beginning to see the problem facing so many retirees and soon to be retirees? Doing the same old thing you've always done with your money during the accumulation phase is not going to prepare you for what to do with your money during retirement. Just like whatever swimming techniques you mastered in the water during the swim portion of the race aren't going to help you on that bicycle. No matter how good a swimmer you are, those tried and true swimming techniques won't help you once you're out of the water. You're in a whole new race for the rest of your life, and it's possible that your existing advisor and the overwhelming amount of expert retirement advice available in the media has left you unprepared for this extremely important phase of your life. As part of our work as financial professionals, we rarely see individuals who have a well constructed income plan for safely maximizing their income during retirement. For a variety of reasons, we are concerned that there are going to be millions of retirees stranded on the side of the road. Some will need to pull over frequently due to getting overly stiff and sore. Some will run out of energy entirely and end up having to push their bikes up the hill they will face. Some will certainly crash on their bikes and, in doing so, injure themselves and quite possibly do irreparable damage to themselves, their family, and the bike. The goal here is not to be negative, rather to clearly, sincerely, my friends, and as directly as possible, make you aware of the importance of sound planning and the coaching needed during the retirement phase of life. Wouldn't it be a shame to crash your bike unnecessarily just because you didn't get the right coaching? The transfer phase. Once the retirement phase or biking phase is over, then comes the third and final financial phase of our lives, the transfer phase. In this last phase of our financial lives, we no longer have a need for material things, and now the goal becomes passing along remaining wealth to loved ones and favorite charities as efficiently as possible according to our wishes. Again, much like people are radically unprepared for the transition from the water to the bike. Similarly, many people have not properly thought through the transition from the bike to the run. There is a lack of prior thought and necessary preparation to ensure that what you've spent a lifetime working for will actually be distributed to the people you want in the way you desire. Remember how big of a transition it was going from swimming to biking. Well, now it's time to trade in the bike and your fancy cycling shoes for a pair of running shoes. While this transition is not nearly as difficult, it still requires prior planning and preparation to have success. So, why are we telling you all this? We are taking the time to cover this in chapter 3 because, first, we think it's naive to think you're going to win a race you don't even know you're in, one you have little to no preparation for. We want to help as many people as possible win this great race. That was and continues to be the motivation behind Retired and Free. Retired and Free is a lifestyle approach whereby financial and other important decisions are made with all three phases in mind. Therefore, any decision being made is evaluated for how it will impact the accumulation, retirement, and transfer phases. We seek to make decisions that will provide benefits and create positive opportunities in as many of the other phases as possible. Failing to make financial and life decisions within the context of these three financial phases would likely produce far less money, income, peace, and freedom than what is otherwise possible. In fact, many of the conventional, more often recommended financial strategies that look like clear-cut winners in the accumulation phase often later create significant challenges and limitations in the retirement and transfer phases of life. There is a reason this book is called Retired Plus Free. It's actually plus free, but I just keep saying and free. The unconventional path to financial certainty and fulfillment. The reason is that much of the conventional regurgitated financial advice isn't necessarily producing the best outcomes for individuals. It might produce great results for investment firms, their advisors, and it certainly sells plenty of magazines and newsletters. But at the end of the day, You shouldn't care about any of that. You shouldn't be investing your money in the best interest of your advisor or the firm holding your money. You should be doing things with your money that are in your best interest. The rest of this book is dedicated to discuss specific strategies and opportunities for maximizing the quality of your life in retirement. If you'd like to get a head start on seeing how one or more of the retired and free strategies could do for you personally, we'll invite you to join us in the next chapter and also schedule time with our team. Not only will retired and free specialists be able to answer your most pressing financial questions and concerns, but based on your specific situation, can also direct you to sections of the book that are going to be especially important for you to be able to execute on. My friends, I will see you in the next chapter, and I will drop the link in the chat for those of you that are interested in getting started on your own retired and free strategy. Sending you many blessings.